What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Classic dropping a car vlog on the way to work. With you guys and gals are having a wonderful day. Nobody tells you more that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you. So I'm praying for you guys and gals to have a wonderful day. I'm praying for people that are going through things. You know, some people didn't wake up like with a smile on their face. They woke up in tears. They woke up in a dark spot. I pray that we all go to the Father for the light of the world. Make sure you subscribe to the Taking Home Podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics, and I put up my matches as classic out for a professional wrestler of 13 years. It'll be 14 in March, but I am grateful to God for this gift called wrestling. Look at all my matches as classic alpha on this channel too. So not only do I speak about wrestling live and everything like that, I also wrestle, so you guys can talk about that as well and view it. Make sure you also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling's YouTube channel. That is me and my wife's professional wrestling company. This is the anniversary 3 week, which is 7 years since Monday was our first show, Press Start. So we even have that. We have our first show, Press Start. The only match we don't have is the main, unfortunately, because cameras and stuff, like I said, we was learning. But still, we have our first show called Press Start. It's available on a playlist with many of the other shows throughout the years of C3 Ultimate Wrestling. So look at that. Also get tickets for February 21st for Big Business. That's in Dyer, Indiana. Harold's private venue. Tickets on sale on Eventbrite. They're $5 off. There'll be $5 more at the door. Arshawn, what's going on? What's going on, man? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I saw a picture yesterday. I don't watch Unreal, but I will speak about Unreal. Right? Anyway, I saw a picture yesterday, and it was a picture of EO hugging Triple H, and obviously Triple H hugging EO back. And not only was EO hugging Triple H, she was hugging him with her legs. And, you know, he was saying he did a good job. Now, not looking at the old context, I'm looking at this picture, and I shared it on my Facebook, and I'm like, yeah, this is wild. This is definitely inappropriate, especially a married man. And I do believe EO's in a relationship. Stop it, Arshawn. To me, that's a little inappropriate to be hugging your employees. So I did post on my Facebook page. I was like, now Paul, LOL. Some people was like, you know, it's crazy. Some people was like, it should have been me. Some people was like, I'm not mad at that. One guy, one of my homies, he's a good friend of mine for the most part. He said, you know, we reaching. So I was like, you know, to each their own. So other people have shared the same picture and they posted. Some said that this is crazy. Some people said this is inappropriate and then it's weird. And then some people was like, nah, y'all are weird because y'all are thinking too deep into this picture. So what I did find out was that this was after EO's WrestleMania match. And she was so excited that she jumped on Triple H. And I'm here to still tell you that that's still inappropriate. Listen, I understand. We get excited about things and stuff like that. Some people clap, some people shout, some people curse, some people do a whole bunch of things. But let me tell you, as a married man, if I give a woman a wrestling opportunity and she does something great and historic, and if she jumps on me and wraps her legs around us, that's how we gonna be in that casket when Sensational Shay is done with both of us. Listen, hey, to each their own. Like I said, y'all can do what y'all want. This is my thoughts on it. That was definitely inappropriate. This is not the first time people have brought Triple H's stuff about certain things to the forefront. People talk about how he hugs some of the women, especially like Rhea Ripley and stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes people will be like, oh, well, Triple H sees them as his kids and stuff like that. And that's why they do it like that. And that's why, listen, them ain't his kids, man. Kids. Them are not his kids. He got kids. Them ain't his kids. And listen, I'm not trying to allude that he's doing anything with these women. I don't want to say that because I do think that marriage is a sacred covenant, right? I do think it is a sacred covenant. But I am going to talk about, do I think that is inappropriate? And I do. It doesn't matter the context of the excitement and stuff like that. You know, if a girl wins $1 million and she jumps on me like that, she gonna have to use some of that for her own funeral. Like, not for yeah, Sensational Shay don't play about Bay. I'm Bay. I'm Sensational Shay's Bay. She don't play about me. So we're not doing that stuff. And trust me, there have been situations where women would get like comfortable telling me stuff that they don't need to tell me. And I've seen my wife like literally like switch off, like I'm about to start spazzing up in here because they don't know what territory is. Now, my territory with my wife and stuff is different from everybody else's and stuff like that. But me as a married man, heck, even if I was in a relationship, there would be no reason for a woman, regardless if I'm older or not, more weird, which we're going to talk about, to jump on me like that. I don't care. It is what it is. EO hugged people like that, including women. I think she does that without asking permission. She does it without asking for Parmesan. Parmesan. It's inappropriate, but if she jumps, just gotta catch a ball, gotta catch it. Listen, and like I said, people will be like, oh, well, you know, even with that, she always hugs people like that. Listen, EO's a phenomenal wrestler. She's very, very dope. And I'm saying this now. If EO jumps on me like that, I'm gonna be like, get off me. Get off me. What is you doing? But that's how they are. Like, we, you know, a lot of chats that I'm in, we make jokes about, like, the women wrestlers and stuff, saying, like, they'll never beat the allegations, talking about, like, you know, they gooners and they all kind of stuff, and they just, you know, I call it WWE Uncut, you know. I ain't got no wrestling gear on the dance floor. But, we talk about these kind of stuff all the time or whatever like that. And like I said, to each their own. But still, I did think that this was a great think piece because a lot of people do speak about it. A lot of people are, like, divided. Now, like I said, people are free to do whatever they want to. But, you know, this is a place of work. I'm not doing that to nobody that I work with. Oh, it's WWE, it's different. They get to express themselves. I get to express myself at work. I mean, there's consequences for that. You know what I'm saying? But still, it's not something that I would personally do. Smash stakes. Yeah, I just wouldn't do that kind of situation. But like I said, like, I don't, you know, I you know, with discernment, I don't think Triple H and Stephanie do the stuff that me and my wife do as far as spiritual walks and stuff like that. Especially with some of the stuff that he said, calling himself the King of Kings and the Authority with the monster demon, you know, that was like the logo and all of that stuff from the outside looking in. But still, you know, this is not something like I'd hope that stuff was happening, because we would look at how Triple H would hug Rhea from behind. That even sounds wild saying it and stuff like that. And we look at some of these older wrestlers that do wind up marrying younger women. And you know, to me, that's not my cup of tea. I wouldn't do that kind of stuff. You know, my wife, you know, my same age bracket, right? So I wouldn't do that kind of stuff. But I know a lot of the older men, they do this stuff because, you know, older men can still, you know what, for the most part, as far as children and spreading wealth and spreading other things. But still, it's like, you know, that's just the kind of thing. There were speculation that Triple H was messing with somebody and other stuff. And even like the situation with him dating China and Stephanie and all of that situation. It's always been something. Next on WWE Uncut. Kip Drill. Or Kit Drill. It's Kit Drill. Is that it must be toxic because it ain't your face. You need a Kit Drill. You need a Kit Drill. Head down. EO hopping. EO hopping. EO hopping on pause stand. Look, all right, cool. All right, I'm done. Still, I do still deem it inappropriate, and I knew that even when I saw or read and heard the full context, it's still inappropriate. I can't say I'm the standard for everybody because I'm not everybody, and I'm not trying to be of the world. I'm trying to be of the word, right? And that's just something that I wouldn't do. Like, I booked a lot of women in C3 Ultimate Wrestling and stuff like that. I put them in stories. They've had matches and stuff. And not none of them in the 7 years of running C3 with my wife would they have thought to jump on me like that at all. The fact that we know who Paul's wife is, right? The fact that we know what she has and the power and the pool she has and stuff like that, the family-owned business that she helps run. And I guess, you know, and he, you know, like Arshawn says, she does this a lot. You can't do that to everybody. We living in a time where people are literally telling, even men, they're telling women, hey, can you not invade my private space? Could you not do certain things? And it's weird because social media is turning around and saying that these men are playing for the other team. They're saying, oh, well, something must be wrong with you. You don't like women. You don't like what they have. And it's just like, no, like some men like to keep to themselves, and maybe they are, I don't know, honoring their relationship, honoring their marriage. Maybe they just don't like touching people. People can be weird. Women can be disgusting sometimes. Some women are very disgusting. So even with that, but like, hey, people say that they always do it. Like I can see somebody getting offended if she does it, and then people are like, oh, well, she always does it. She doesn't mean any harm. And I'm like, well, that's besides the point. Is that it's still my space, not my computer, but my space, not my website, my space, bars. And I do think that is something to take into consideration. Now, if she's already doing that to other people, that's choice to do that. If they're cool with it, they're cool with it. But as a married man looking at another married man, have a woman hug him with her arms and her legs is a problem. And like I said, going into it, like, it's bad enough that, like, when older wrestlers are talking to younger wrestlers and even having relationships, you know, they do that father-daughter thing and stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes people like that situation, and to each their own. But I don't think it's a personal reach. I don't think that that's just an appropriate hug. I don't think it's appropriate. Can you hug your workers? Sure. Can you embrace them? Sure. I've hugged people. I've given dap. I've shook hands. I've done a whole bunch of, like, hey, you know, because I want people to feel comfortable and stuff like that. And most of them are my friends and family anyway. But none of them is jumping on me like that. None of them are. None of them. Hey, we're not trying to stir no pot. We're not trying to have people look at it like, dang, what does Shay think about this? We're not doing none of that stuff. We ain't doing none of that at all. It's definitely too, thank you. Like, it's too familiar. And it's like, I understand Triple H is trying to do different things from Vince. And, you know, Vince was definitely doing some crazy stuff, but you ain't beating the allegation. No, I'm just playing. But still, to me, you have to have a sense of professionalism, because, like, we talk about how a lot of the women wrestlers talked about how they were uncomfortable with Vince, and we hear the sad story about, like, Ashley Mazzaro, who went through that stuff when she went overseas for the tributes to the troops, and how WWE tried to sweep it under the rug. We're hearing the cases about Triple H messing with women wrestlers, ones who've been doing interviews for years before the Janelle Grant situation. We've seen these stuff before, and it's just like, to me, you shouldn't even try to have any inkling that you act like your pops. You just shouldn't. And I don't think that that's really appropriate for a space that people already touch each other as far as professional wrestling. But that's just my 2 cents. That's my opinion. And like I said, somebody probably smacked their teeth and rolled their eyes and was like, you know what? Nah, we good. Nah, y'all thinking too into it. Everything is not sexual and all of that stuff. And sometimes everything is not sexual. Sometimes it's just inappropriate. It's just inappropriate. Girl wears a skimpy skirt or whatever and all that stuff, all the way up to you seeing her underwear. People may not see her as a sexual object, but they will probably still deem it as inappropriate. And I think this goes into the file cabinet in the file of inappropriateness. Not tendernism, inappropriatism. So that's how I feel about it. What's going on, John Morant? We got a play. Yeah, what up, man? We got a play up in here, man. We got a player, man. What's going on? I hope all is well. But still, you know, I'm not sitting here trying to disrespect or discredit anybody, but that definitely is an inappropriate hug. It's at the work spot. Like, imagine like they was in like the airport or something and she did it because she excited that she get a vacation. You know, because some people is like, you know, oh, well, it's their culture to just jump on people and hug people. And I'm like, talking about EO, and I'm like, some of them don't play like that at all, you know. And let me say this too on the flip side. I wish Sensational Shay would jump into another man's arms and hug like that. I wish he would. Actually, I don't wish he would. She better not. Not better not. She bet not. And she know that. And she won't. War games, right? she won't. So, if EO jumped on you, Shay would have took her. Yeah, she would have. And she probably would have too. Especially if she don't know the context. You see what I'm saying? Because it's inappropriate. And like I said, it's just something. Even like, you know, I'm not single, but if I was, I'm not doing that with women wrestlers. Not doing that. Like, we are already sitting in a climate where people are talking about, okay, well, this person is inappropriate, this person touched me, this person did all of this stuff. We're already sitting in this climate, right? We had the Me Too movement in wrestling, where some wrestlers even retired because their skeletons came out of the closet. Heck, some people just quit in general because they said they just hated the state of professional wrestling, which made them look kind of more guilty because, unfortunately, there's darkness in almost any aspect of this world. Right, but still. So now you turn around and, you know, we talked about the Vince thing, and now you got another boss where women just jumping on him and he hugging them and saying they're doing a good job. And who's to say, fast forward, not saying nothing bad, I don't want nothing bad to happen. Listen, I don't want nothing bad to happen, but what if something happens and the EO says something and then they'll be like, oh, well, it didn't seem like you was creeped out when you hugged them? Because these are also things too, because people do lie. People lie. Women lie. Men lie, when women lie, allegations lie. Look, like, people lie. People lie and stuff. And even me, I side-eye everything. And I've been side-eyeing stuff since I was a child. Like, my stepmom, she was always saying, like, hey, man, you know, some women, they only want that thing. And that's money and greed on the scene. So some people do stuff for benefits. And some people can be like, okay, well, I'm a piece of crap. I can make sure I can show people that I'm not a piece of crap and lie on people. People do these kind of things, yo. So these are the things that you got to be careful. I don't want nobody to think that it's okay to just jump in my arms and stuff like that. And Samaya, when I pick up Samaya, that's my baby girl, and I pick her up and stuff. Them ain't his kids, man, and people got to stop that stuff, man. Like, can you look at somebody that's younger than you and see them as your kid? Yes, you can. You can probably try to raise them. You can probably try to teach them the game and stuff like that. Sure. I want to mentor people and stuff like that and do the right thing and stuff like that, because I do think that the village do need to come back. I really do. And you guys know that I've spoken about that. But how we embrace or say hi to each other or acknowledge each other, that's very, very important. That is very, very important. Like, we literally, remember that teacher that it was a male teacher? He was getting his hair done and stuff like that in class, and they was talking about stuff. He deemed it was inappropriate. Some stuff was inappropriate in there. Now, am I saying he messed with him or nothing? No, but it was inappropriate. They shouldn't be doing your hair in class. Y'all shouldn't be talking about rizzes, and y'all shouldn't be doing all of this stuff. Yeah, it's just inappropriate. It's just very inappropriate. Like, you cannot do that kind of stuff. Like, you have to have a sense of excuse me, professionalism. You have to have a sense of professionalism. And to me, that's not a sense of professionalism at all. Not alluding that he's doing anything, once again, but I am saying that's inappropriate. And that's all I wanted to say. I'm at work now. Let's talk about it in the chat. Do y'all mind being hugged by women that ain't yours? Or do you mind, or does your wife mind you being hugged by women that ain't yours? What kind of relationship y'all got? Step into the comment. WWE Uncut. You too, bro. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.